my name is Lauren Luna, and this is the Social Norms Violation Project. So right now we're on our way to Blaze Pizza, where I'm going to be breaking some social norms. So a social norm is basically unspoken rules that we follow in society just out of common decency or out of respect, like standing a fair distance in line, or not really being in someone's personal space, just common decency, but there's no set rule that we have to do that. And we have hidden cameras, so they're gonna catch everything. Valeria's here, she's gonna film.
Hey!
So she's gonna catch everything on video. Woo! Let's go. So basically what I'm gonna be doing is I'm gonna order some food, and then Blaze, of course, is a self-seating, like, open restaurant. So I'm gonna order some food and then sit with a random family and then just, mind my own business, like I don't even have a problem, like it's not even a thing. And then of course they're probably gonna give me some stares, or they're gonna judge me a little bit because, they're trying to have a family meal. So I'm a little nervous because I know I'm gonna get judged. I'm gonna get some weird stares, but I mean, in the name of psychology. And then after that, we're gonna get their interviews and see what they thought about it. Okay, sorry. My name's Lauren. So this is first. We go into a public place and we break a social norm, and a social norm is basically just like subtle norms that shape our everyday behavior. Like in a full open self-seating place where there's plenty of seats, I choose to sit right next to you. That's odd. You don't usually do that.
Yeah, but you're pretty, and we were trying to figure out if we knew you, and I'm like, okay, I must know her, and I just don't remember. That was funny.
So I just wanted to ask you, what was your first reaction? Like, what did you think? Was it odd?
I thought I knew you.
Oh, really?
So it wasn't odd quite yet because I thought I must know you, and you're waiting for me to go, hey, oh my God, I haven't seen you. But then it was a little, then this one, he was going.
I'm sorry if I scared you, it's for a school project.
He's okay.
But yeah, so I just wanted to let you guys know that I'm not crazy, I just wanted, it was part of a project.
I love it.
So
That's
yeah,
good.
thank you for being good sport. Okay, that was really, really weird. Alright, so let's see, reactions and responses. Alright, so for me, like I said before, I was super, super, super nervous just because I was really stepping out of my comfort zone, and I knew I was gonna get judged. And so my response to it was once I was there sitting there, it was really, really hard for me not to look at them or not to acknowledge them. I was just kind of trying to stay on my phone, trying to look straight forward, and I could feel them looking at me, and I just I couldn't. I was feeling so weird. It was really, really weird. But just because I knew that I was doing something that isn't right, And so after, when I got to talk to them, I felt a lot better because I was able to say okay, I'm not crazy, I just did it as a project, So I was able to kind of justify why I was doing it. And so fundamental attribution error was shown throughout this because I don't know if you heard them, but while I sat down and right in the beginning when I explained to them that this was for a project, before the camera got a little bit closer because I was getting their permission to film them, they were saying, oh, we weren't scared, we weren't nervous because of the way you looked. They were you're have glasses on, you had your keys with you, you had a cell phone, so we knew you weren't scary, we knew you weren't a threat. And to me that was really, really interesting because that looks made them judge me differently. They kind of were laughing, they were kind of having a good time, oh, who is this, do I know you? That's what she said. She said she thought she knew me. And it's crazy, if I would have looked something different, if I would have looked a little more scary, maybe they would have not have treated me the same, or maybe they wouldn't have been as nice to me. It's kind of crazy to think. Conformity was shown throughout this experiment because as I was sitting there, I wanted to tell them right away. I wanted to sit somewhere else. I wanted to sit one chair away from them, but I had to sit right next to them. And it was crazy that we conform to everyday things that isn't even a real rule or isn't even a real thing we must follow, but we just conform to it because everybody's doing it. Everyone's distance away from each other, and I had to break it. And as I got there and I started to explain more to them what social norms were, she was like, yeah, I honestly didn't think it was scary. I didn't think it was really that weird. I was trying to think, oh, do I know her? She was trying to justify why I was sitting there. And it's crazy that breaking social norms makes a person think and try to justify certain things when, it's not even a real rule. We don't actually have to do it, but if you break it, people are going to try to justify why you're doing that. You're crazy, you're lonely, you're weird. anything like that, or hey, maybe I know them. It's really weird that our minds think that way. So when I actually firsthand experienced violating social norms, it kind of made me understand the power of the situation and the influence of others and what they have on us. So as I walked up there, they actually like stopped talking. They stopped talking in the conversation, and I felt bad. Like I wanted to like kind of leave them alone. They were having this great dinner, and then all of a sudden they were uncomfortable, and it was my fault, and I felt like all bad, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I want this to end so quickly. So it just shows that like I wanted to change because I knew they were uncomfortable with me and what I was doing. That others have that much influence on us and how we behave, even when it comes to choosing a seat in a restaurant. It really taught me that if you're trying to fit in, you're gonna do certain things that make other people think you're acceptable. Like they're gonna sit a reasonable distance away from you so they don't think you're weird. You know, I felt bad. I was like, maybe even if I move a seat over, just one more seat over, they wouldn't think it's as weird. And so I feel really bad for our society that we have to change little tiny behaviors just so other people can see us less weird.
Go.
Okay, now we're on to our next stop, Costco. Well, I'm gonna do another violation of social norms. I'm gonna cut in line. Of course, the Costco line's always gonna be big and long. So I'm gonna cut and then kind of see what the reaction's gonna be and kind of act like I don't know like what they're talking about. Like I can't cut, that's a thing. And then just see how they react to it, and we'll see what's gonna go on. Sorry, we have a camera. Is it okay if we film you?
No.
Okay, that one was really, really awkward and really bad. I felt really bad. Okay, so she didn't let me interview her. She didn't want to be on camera, but she did let me talk to her and answer some questions. So basically, if you guys didn't hear, I'll try to put subtitles in it, but basically she was saying like, oh, are you with the man in front of me? And I was like, no. And she was like, oh. And I was like, and she was like, I'm next. And I was like, I can't cut you? And she was like, no. And she was so mad at me. I felt so bad. So then I introduced myself, and but of course she didn't want to be on camera, so, but I did get her statement. And she was saying that she felt really, really like insulted, like, oh, why'd you just cut me? And she was like saying I'm crunched for time, so I was like extra mad. She was saying like, oh, if you were with the guy in front of me, maybe, or if you were talking to the guy when you just asked a question, like that would have been fine, but then I found out that you were actually cutting me. And so she got really upset. And her first assumption of me was that I was just like a rude teenager. For me, it was really, really awkward because for me, it was really, really awkward because I knew that was like wrong. Like, you know, that's like really bad, like cutting someone in line, especially Starbucks when everyone's on the go trying to leave really quick. I felt really, really bad. So fundamental attribution error, because I was a teenager and like, you know, we're at Starbucks and like I walked in front of her, she thought I was just being rude. She thought I was like a rude teenager who didn't care, who didn't have any respect for, you know, older people. So that was her first assumption of me, just based off of how I looked and what I did. Okay, so conformity was shown throughout this experiment because as I went in there, I was like, I didn't want to cut her. I felt so weird. I didn't want just to wait in line. And then even Valeria, who was filming, said that like I ended it really quickly. Just I wanted to let her know like this is not me. Like it was a joke. It was for a project. And you know, I wanted to be that normal person again. I wanted to fit back into society as someone who like stays in line and doesn't cut people and who isn't rude. And it was so crazy. She was so mad at me. Like you could see it in her face. Like when I turned around, she was giving me like the dirtiest look. And it's crazy that something as simple as cutting in line, and that is such an impactful social norm, that just something as being common courtesy, waiting your turn, can get someone so angry if you don't follow those rules. Okay, so this experience really taught me a lot about the violation, way more than the first one, just because she wasn't as nice, you know, she was getting really angry and she was giving me dirty looks, and it really made me understand that, like, I felt bad, like, I felt like, oh my gosh, I want to, like, buy her coffee, I want to, like, I feel like, I want to leave, I want to get out of the situation, because, like, I could feel her judging me, I could feel her being so mad at me, and so, like, like, why are you wasting my time, you know, I felt so weird, and I just wanted to, like, get out of there. So it really makes sense that, like, you know, I didn't want to do anything else to her. Like, when she said she couldn't be filmed, I was like, oh, okay, no problem. Like, okay, let's just ask you a few questions really quickly. Like, I didn't want to hold her up anymore because I already knew she didn't like me because I cut her in line, and I didn't want to give her any other reason not to like me. Alright, so that's it. It was really embarrassing. It was really hard, but I did it. And I learned a lot about social norms and how awkward it really is to not be, like, seen as normal in society. So thanks for watching. Thanks for watching me embarrass myself. Bye.